We're back here again on the beautiful island of Ibiza, and we are going to build self-belief and self-worth. Now, this is tough. And how do you do it yourself? Let's see if we can go through the steps so that we can start to have this for ourselves, because building it ourselves is the most powerful one. If we rely on others to do it, it generally disappears after a while, and we go back to our unconscious mind of limiting beliefs. So we need to change our self-belief and our self-worth knowledge ourselves and have it embedded internally. Let's go. With this concept and thought, balanced love is a commitment to your personal happiness and well-being. We need to make a commitment to ourselves and our personal happiness and well-being. And we do that through self-compassion, acceptance, and kindness. The world has required us to be perfect as women for centuries. Make the perfect home, have the perfect body, wear the perfect clothes, have your nails perfect, don't have any wrinkles, have children, work while you have children, don't have children, be the CEO of something. The list goes on. So it's impossible sometimes for us to have true self-compassion because we're always flagellating ourselves to be a better version of us. But we need to stop that, and we need to have acceptance of who we are. And also we need to have acceptance of the different stages of who we are as we age. That's something I talk about a lot on my podcast, so check that out as well here in the. And then we need to be damn kind to ourselves. Sometimes we're just too hard on ourselves. Okay, so let's start going through the steps on how we achieve this together. This is going to be a slightly longer video because we've got a lot to get through, but I guarantee you it's going to be impactful for you. Let's just think about self-worth. Let's turn it around on me. So I'm here giving you this course on going toward living your best life and rewiring your brain in order to do that. Well, I'm not a millionaire, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I've achieved the best life. And I don't have a PhD, and I'm not a neuroscientist. So what's my value? What gives me the right to tell you any of this stuff? Why would anyone listen to me? These are questions that I would have in regard to self-worth. And often, when we don't have all the highest credentials and all the things that give us the biggest stamps of approval in other people's eyes, we pull back and we think, oh, we've got nothing to offer. But actually, there's a lot of people out there who need the information that you have in order to get them to the stage that you're at. And as we grow together, we can support one another and feel our level of worth at the same time. Relating to self-belief, what gives me the right to have all I desire? What do I believe about myself that gives me the opportunity and the right to have what all these millionaires have, for example? Well, if we spend our life holding on to that or thinking about that, we'll limit ourselves from actually taking the steps forward. So, in reviewing self-love and self-belief, I have to admit to you that it's still an area for me that I have to continually remind myself of its importance. And in fact, I fall down all the time on it. Why? Because wired into my neuropsyche and into my neural pathways is giving of myself to others, going out of my way to make sure everyone else's needs are met before mine. That's what I was taught to do and punished when I didn't. And I'm guessing everyone who has a religious background has similar ethos and value set written into their unconscious mind. But what this research here, this qualitative exploration of self-love done by some Chinese medics back in 2021, it states self-love is love. So all the love that we were taught to give to others is the same love, but it's just directed inward. Look at the list of things that it says are important for self-love. The first one smacks at me as no way, don't cherish yourself first. But that goes back to what I was taught as a young girl. But we know that if we really truly cherish ourselves and take care of ourselves as we would something else that is dear and special, we would then have enough within us to give to others. Makes sense, right? The whole plane mask scenario. Self-acceptance. Well, we've talked a bit about that already in the last few days. But having a true kindness to yourself and accepting who you are. We're going to go through a detailed talk on these 5 components, because when we truly understand what they mean and why, then we can start to take steps towards making them really real in our own life. So here we go. My most gorgeous grandson, only 3 weeks old, 2 in this picture. He is a self-cherishing individual, and we are at that young age. So is self-cherishing right or wrong? Well, if little Tate doesn't cherish himself, he wouldn't stay alive. And it's interesting, when I did some research on self-cherishing, up comes article after article from various religions stating how wrong it is. It says you should not be that way. You should think of others first. My parents used to tell me that if I wanted joy in life, it was broken down into an acronym, which was Jesus, others, and then you. And that was said to me on a daily, weekly basis. So you can imagine what my unconscious mind goes through when I think about my own personal happiness. That little series of steps, the first one must be religion and give yourself to the God that you're following. The next one, the most important on this earth, is others. And then if you've got any time left, you give it to yourself, and then you have joy. Now, little Tate here, he doesn't know anything about that, but he knows, his little body knows he needs to stay alive. I also said earlier, tradition sets it that it's wrong for women to put themselves first. Always there to serve others, make the family happy, make the husband happy, make the boss happy, whatever it might be, yeah? And also this whole self-cherishing thing, do people immediately throw it away because it's a bit new agey, it's a bit trending at the moment? And then you have that mother, teacher voice in your head, don't be selfish. Make sure others are happy first before yourself. But actually, is selfish wrong? No. Nature says it's a must. And little Kate wouldn't be alive if we didn't, right? Jump into a little bit here on stress. We're helping others. We're so busy helping others. We have no time for recharging our batteries. It's just, I'm so busy. I've just really got to keep going. You know, there's so much going on. And it would just be so selfish for me right now to stop and take time for myself. I just have not got the time. What research is saying, and actually what this Chinese medicine is saying, is ultimately, and ironically, that ends up being the selfish choice. Because why? Because then you become exhausted, you become stressed, your body is fatigued, and you've got nothing left for you. Now, I don't think I'm speaking anything new here, but I think it's good to put it out there again to remind us, because what we need to reduce in our life is an anxiety-ridden life, a stress-ridden life, and going through the hamster wheel of actions to make sure that everyone else is cared for, that our finances are where they need to be, continually fighting the next battle of career progression and growth. But then we take on a martyrdom scenario, and we have this attitude like, well, as long as everyone else is happy and everything else is working well, then that's okay. And I don't really matter in all of that because I'll cope. But you do matter. You do. And I just love this down here. This is the directions for stress reduction that we often have. Bang your head against the wall until it hurts too bad to carry on. Wrong. We can't continue this way. When we're overly stressed, we're no good to anyone, are we? And what's the definition of insanity? What's the definition of folly? going again and again and again and expecting that we're going to come out better in the end, but the same way we've done it before where we ended up badly. Like my stress reduction instructions here: bang head against wall and repeat continually until passing out. Martyrdom is not empowering, and it doesn't make you beautiful, and it doesn't make you strong. Giving yourself to others really is important. Now, giving of yourself to others, albeit important, cannot happen until you have first cherished yourself. I'm actually going to jump into something a little controversial. A lack of self-cherish and a lack of self-love is actually a form of self-harm. Now, many of us would never want to admit that we are self-harming. But when we don't take care of ourselves, we self-harm. I am the first one to admit that I do it all the time because of the way I've been hardwired. And I have to stop myself, and I have to say, this is the same as causing physical body harm to myself. When I don't take time for me, I hurt myself. Stop being so damn hard on yourselves. And self-acceptance. Authentic acceptance is what's really important. Now, we've all heard about self-acceptance, and we all have heard the ways to get there, such as affirmations, etc. So I'm not going to teach grannies to suck eggs here on this one. But what I am going to do is give you a very practical tip. If you're giving yourself an affirmation of something that your brain and your body know is not true, then it's never, ever, ever going to stick and make a difference to your neural pathways of your inner self-talk, your inner values, and your inner beliefs. So if you stand in front of the mirror at the age of 45 and you say, I look like I'm 22, and I don't have any wrinkles, and there's nothing going wrong with the shape of my body, or I look the same as I always did, your body's going to know that that's not true. Your brain's going to know that that's not true. Well, let's take another one. Stand in front of the mirror with your affirmation and you say, I am a millionaire today. It can end up just being empty words. So what you need to do is you need to give affirmations that are authentic. You need to give acceptance to yourself in its authentic form, because that's when it really makes a difference. Meghan Markham, a chief psychologist in healthcare, says self-acceptance is the ability to accept both your strengths and your personal faults without judgment. And I believe that you can't do that without authentic praise. And authentic acceptance, such as, my body isn't the way it used to be. I don't look like I'm 22 anymore. But I'm beautiful because I am aging with grace, or I'm beautiful because I have a beautiful smile, or my body is still firm and I can still get into a pair of jeans and look sexy. Or I'm not a millionaire or a CEO of a multi-millionaire firm, but I am confident in the progression I'm making, and I'm learning X, Y, or Z, and I am making a career progression, whatever it might be. I'm not happy in the relationship I have right now, but I have the confidence to tell myself something I need and what my next steps are. Or I'm confidently telling the partner what I expect in a relationship. These are things you can give yourself in acceptance. It doesn't mean you're accepting everywhere you are now, but that's where you want to be, but you're stating it clearly. And in being authentic with that acceptance, it gives you the platform then to get to the next place where you want to go. And then when you're really truly accepting of yourself, you don't really care so much about what others think about you. And therefore it doesn't hinder you or stop you from carrying on to the next place of development. We don't want to be our own worst critics, okay? We want to really truly accept ourselves and really not care what other people. We want to really truly accept ourselves and really not care what other people think about us. So we're going to just whiz through some of these, write them down, and there's going to be a little quiz at the bottom where you can unpick these a little bit more. These are our acceptance characteristics. See yourself fairly and accurately. Recognize what you are and aren't good at. Embracing all parts of yourself, even the negative ones. And then be happy with who you are, and then think about what you want to change. Accepting your values, and that's a big one. Sometimes I just have to accept some of the values that are inborn in me. And if I really don't like them or I'm not happy with it, then I can set about going through the process of changing them. Accept your preferences, accept the resources that you have, accept your feelings and intuitions, both past and present as well. And I think really understanding that we have this amazing ability for intuition as women, and accepting them and valuing them and respecting them. Recognizing your strengths and accomplishments without being overly vain about them, but celebrate who you are. Big yourself up for what you've done. Be proud of what you've gained and learned and shout about it. Just don't be the irritating one down the pub, but recognize them. We don't give ourselves enough pats on the back and recognition for all we've achieved. Acknowledge your weaknesses and faults, but without beating yourself about them. You have to list them out, you have to state them and be mature about them, but then you can turn them into actions or development rather than excessive negative self-talk. And remember, when we label it, it becomes a thing that we're dealing with out here. We're taking it away from just churning and churning and churning in our unconscious mind. We need to have a positive attitude towards ourselves and holding ourselves in high regard without the need for others' approval. Now, this is a huge one. It's huge. Now, how do we get there? We're going to talk about that in a moment. This is a huge one. It is absolutely huge, and it jumps all the way back to that self-love, that self-cherishing, a positive attitude towards holding yourself in high regard. That means you're not going to let someone treat you badly. Would you let someone treat your child badly? No, because you hold them in high regard. Would you let someone speak to your mother the way that your boss or your partner that's toxic speaks to you? No, you would not. When have you said, this is not what I am prepared to accept in a relationship or in a working environment? How many times do you just walk away and hope that that disappears? That you're not putting yourself in high regard. I did it for years. I had a boss who continually belittled me and made me feel low. And instead of saying, this is treatment I will not accept in the workplace, I just walked away and felt bad about myself. That's not holding myself in high regard, because you would stand up for someone that you did hold in high regard. So you need to do it for yourself. And here's one that I highlighted in red because it's so important to me. Seeing yourself as a whole human being, rather than defining yourself by characteristics, incidents, abilities, or weaknesses. For the longest time, especially because I became a mother at the age of 19, and before that, I was required to always be the caregiver for other people, other children, other people's children, etc. So I defined myself as Tirza the caregiver, Tirza the leader, Tirza the mother, Tirza the wife, Tirza the project manager, Tirza the strategic lead. But never in all of that did I actually just look at me in the round until I moved away to Spain and spent time really turning my life around and focusing on me for hopefully the final time of my journey. And so even if there's things in my life that are not complete, for example, I'm single, for example, I'm not a millionaire, it doesn't matter because I'm seeing myself as the whole human being of Tirza Elise. I am person that I am, not the influencing factors that are coming in at me, such as, oh, I'm the wife, or I'm the mother, or I'm the successful business person. Albeit all of those things are successful in them. I'm not defined by them anymore. And that gives me the ability to really love and respect myself. I hope you felt that those key points were some that you can stop this video now, pause and ponder on. I want you to go down your thoughts against all of these points, 1 or 2 bullet points. What comes to mind when you hear them? This is your own self-reflection diary, because we're going to start to paint a picture of where you're at with self-love and self-belief. Because remember, when we write it down, it starts to become real and make sense. I'll see you in part B.